Welcome to Network Cabling Standards Lesson 1. I am your instructor, Jose Leonardo San Miguel. The objective of this lesson is to be able to identify the common characteristics of the most commonly used network cable. We will discuss the advantages and limitations of each different cable category. Very importantly, objective number 3 is to be able to identify the different types of fire ratings for each cable. And last, we'll go over on how to select the proper cable that meets a building's fire rating code. The standard length limitation for all category cables, except for category 3, is 100 meters or 328 feet. The most commonly used network cables are category cables 3, 5, 5E, 6, and 6A. Category 3 or Cat3 cable is mostly used for analog connections, DSL connections, or modems. It is currently not being used commercially too much. It is mostly used for residential analog connections such as your standard telephone line. Cat5 cable is used for network speeds up to 100 megabits per second. Most internet service providers at home do not offer 100 megabits per second speeds. This type of cable is usually found in home installations. Cat5e is for network speeds up to 1000 megabits per second or 1 gigabit per second. These type of cables are normally installed in call centers, universities, businesses. Although they may not even receive 100 gigabits per second on their business, internally they may use 1 gigabit per second speeds to connect to their internal servers. Cat6 cables are for network speeds up to 3 gigabits per second. Although some cable manufacturers claim that their Cat6 cable is capable of network speeds up to 10 gigabits per second, this statement is only true when the cable length is too short, about between 10 to 30 feet. In this lesson, we will characterize the cable's network speed for 100 meters or 328 feet. Cat6A cable is used for network speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second. Primarily, this type of cable is installed in data centers where you'll find network equipment. There are two types of cable conductors, which are stranded cable and solid cable per second. As you can see on the image on the right, the letter E, stranded cable conductors, is found following Cat5 or Cat6 means enhanced, which are twisted together to form a required gauge. It is an improved version of the previous one. It is more flexible. The letter A means it is most commonly used to connect computers to be greater in size or value. Solid cable conductors are made out of solid metal. It has more twists. They're more rigid and it has a thicker gauge. Primarily used for backbone and horizontal network cabling. Every network cable has an identifier printer on the outer jacket. The image on the left illustrates that this is a stranded cable and is identified as UTP. As you can see the content on the right of the screen, U stands for unshielded and TP stands for twisted pair. Therefore, this cable is a stranded, unshielded, twisted pair. The unique characteristics that separate category cables from any other cable are the twist in each pair. Category cables are twisted together in pairs for the purpose of canceling out electromagnetic interference. Each of the 4 pairs in a category cable has a different precise number of twists per meter. Less interference reduces crosstalk between cables, which allows for faster transmission speeds. Notice on the image that Cat6 cable has more twist than Cat5e, and Cat5e has more twist than Cat5. That is one of the reasons why higher category cables have faster transmission speeds. Cable jacket fire ratings is of chief importance when installing cable. The most common fire ratings are plenum and riser, or non-plenum. Riser cable has a jacket prevents fire spreading from floor to floor. It is used in buildings that use an air duct return rather than using the ceiling space to return air. CMR cable cannot be used in plenum spaces. The image is a representation of an office room where the ambient air goes through a duct. This type of ceiling space is called riser or non-plenum. Plenum cable is designed to be used in buildings that use the ceiling space to return air circulation. The cable is composed of a fire retardant jacket and can be used in place of non-plenum riser cable. The image represents an office room where the ambient air gets circulated above the ceiling. This type of ceiling space is called plenum space. It is extremely important to use the proper cable based on fire codes. If you don't, then the fire marshal can find you and remove all of your cables above the ceiling. Then you will have to do the job all over again. Let's look at the cable and try to find out what type of cable this is. Well, let's examine the cable prints. It reads that it is augmented Cat6, and it reads that it is CMR, which stands for Communications Riser. Let's see. There are many other types of cable used in the industry. Another cable not so commonly used is the outdoor category cable, which is a water-blocked cable with sunlight-resistant jacket filled with anti-corrosion gel. It can be buried, installed in an underground conduit, or in an aerial lashing. It must be enclosed in a conduit or penetrated inner duct if you plan to use it indoors within the ceiling area. In conclusion, before doing any cable installation, check the air return. Make sure you use the proper cable. Plenum can be used in place of riser non-plenum cable. However, plenum costs about double the price for non-plenum. If you receive a Cat5 cable to install and the customer is expecting speeds of 1 gigabits per second, then it is your responsibility to tell them about the limitations of Cat5s and recommend them a higher quality cable. And always, please always, do an assessment prior to installing new cabling.